Good afternoon. Last night at 6:30 p.m., after a 4-week trial, a unanimous Nassau County jury returned a verdict of $141.5 million. This is the story of the case. On May the 13th, 2018, a log truck company falsely certified that they knew, understood, and would enforce the federal motor carrier safety regulations. These are rules that protect us all and keep us all safe. Under penalty of perjury, the company swore they knew, would follow, and enforce the rules. These rules are the safety rules. In fact, that log truck company, in sworn deposition we exposed, had never even had a copy of the federal motor carrier safety regulations. They had never read the federal motor carrier safety regulations. They'd never even heard of the federal motor carrier safety regulations. They knew nothing about the federal motor carrier safety regulations, and they had no idea what the rules required in the hiring, training, supervising, and entrusting of log truck drivers behind the wheel of an 80,000-pound log truck over the roads of Nassau County. In this case, we sued two defendants, Defendant Trollinger, the log truck driver, and K&N Logging, its president, also Defendant Legree. Defendant Trollinger broke the rules, the safety rules that a defendant driver, a truck driver, must always look where he is going and see what is there to be seen to control his speed of his truck. When he does not, he can slam and to stop traffic, run over people on crosswalks, run off the road, and hit people walking to school. In this case, we know that on March 3rd, 2020, Defendant Trollinger was driving an 80,000-pound log truck westbound on State Road 200. He'd been on the road since 4 a.m. He was going 67 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone, approaching a known congested area filled with construction, school buses, and stopped traffic and parents picking up their children from school. He came around the bend approaching Old Nassauville Road. He had 11 seconds to see, perceive, and react to the stopped traffic ahead. For 11 seconds, he did nothing. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He hit his brakes less than 1/10 of a second before slamming into the rear end of a line of stopped traffic with children and parents and uncles and aunts, causing bone-crushing injuries, tearing flesh, and causing permanent brain damage to a 5-year-old child. Defendant Trollinger, if he was only looking to see where he was going, he would have slowed down. Mike Miller would have gone home from Walmart. Angel Rodriguez and his niece would have driven home from school, and none of us would be here today. It would have been so easy. We don't know whether he was searching for the meth pipe in his pocket, because after the crash, they failed and refused to get a post-crash drug test, violating, once again, the federal motor carrier safety regulations. We don't know whether He was looking at his cell phone for those 11 seconds because he destroyed his cell phone records and the company never preserved them in violation of the federal motor carrier safety regulations. We don't know whether he was fatigued for driving hundreds of hours over the maximum time period because the company never even had him fill out logbooks. But we do know that he caused permanent, devastating injuries, and he acted in conformity with the habits of the log truck industry. We sued Cannon Logging and defendant Legree because they broke the rules that trucking companies must always obey and enforce the federal motor carrier safety regulations before hiring, training, supervising, and entrusting an 80,000-pound log truck over the roads with a driver, a promise they made under penalties of perjury. When a log truck company blindly hires a driver and puts him on the roadway with no application, no background check, no driving history check, no criminal history run, never got a medical certificate, never checked with his prior employers, never did a pre-employment drug test, no road test to see if he could even drive, zero training, zero supervision, zero logbooks, 0 hours of service enforcement, and zero training about how to strap down logs, and then pays him cash under the table and pays him by the load and tells him to just drive. A dangerous, drug-addicted driver with a serious criminal history, with a proven contempt for the law and safety of others, can be put on the road behind the wheel of an 80,000-pound log truck, putting everyone in danger of death or serious bodily harm. Defendant K&N in the log truck industry has the power over life and death on the roadways. We've all been behind them. We've all had them behind us. We are helpless next to the power of a log truck. Log trucks are 2 to 3 times more deadly in a crash than a simple automobile. Defendant K&N turned a blind eye and broke the rules in reckless disregard for the safety of everyone on the roads of Nassau County. They ignored the criminal history of Trollinger, which if they had looked, they would have seen. That's one of the blow-ups. Here we go. You're good. A decorated criminal history, including battery on law enforcement officer, aggravated assault with deadly weapon, aggravated battery, violation of injunction for domestic violence, DUI causing a crash with a .184 blood alcohol level, driving a commercial motor vehicle with unsafe equipment, open container, causing a crash, running a red light in a commercial motor vehicle, running a red light, speeding in a commercial motor vehicle 74 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone behind the wheel of a semi. 3 months before he was put behind the wheel in this crash, felony possession of methamphetamine while driving a vehicle, felony possession of drug paraphernalia, no motor vehicle registration. He gets out of jail on that charge 2 weeks later. Battery on his ex-wife, throwing coffee on her back. And then 2 months later, 2 months before this crash, he runs a stop sign, is pulled over, again arrested for felony possession of methamphetamine. And then the morning of this crash, when K&N Logging, the log truck industry, put him back on the road, he's put out of service. The morning of this crash, for driving a log truck with straps that are cut in half. He calls the company and they said, get another load, keep on driving. Where did Defendant Trollinger get his meth? In the logging woods. Methamphetamine is an upper. It keeps them awake so they can drive, but it wears off. We'll never know the truth of how much meth he had done that morning because they destroyed the evidence by breaking the rule and never getting a post-crash drug test. K&N turned a blind eye to the safety of the public. They spent $0 on safety, not 1 cent, and destroyed every record. Because defendant K&N turned a blind eye to safety, Defendant Trollinger was on the road and slammed into the rear end of 3 people just going home that day. We don't know whether K&N's motives were out of greed, just to make money, and to heck with everyone else's safety. We don't know whether K&N was motivated out of dishonesty, hiding the pay, and driving loads to avoid following the rules and drive as much as they can to make money. We don't know if they were corrupt, cheating, not paying taxes to pay for the roads they tear up because they destroyed all the records. We don't know if they were just callous because they knew the rules and ignored them, just like someone who tries to pass on a double yellow line on a 2-lane road blindly into the oncoming lane, putting everyone in danger, to heck with everyone else. We don't know if they were just lazy because they didn't care. We do know out of 3 random roadside inspections in the 2 years before this crash, they failed every one of them. 100% failure. We don't know if it was just selfish. It's all about us and the money we make. But we do know that they recklessly ran through every safety barrier that we have set up to protect lives and keep the roads safe. It could have been anyone on March 3rd, 2020. Could have been anyone on the roads that day that he slammed into. Just so happened that it was Mike Miller, Angel Rodriguez, and the 5-year-old daughter of Marilyn Rodriguez. Would have been so easy. A $40 record search. It would have been so easy. A $40 record search would have exposed all of Trollinger's history. The fact he had been fired by 2 of his previous 4 employers for causing crashes and speeding in semis. And none of us would be here today. In this case, the Nassau County jury had an opportunity to determine punitive damages, to send a message to the trucking industry. After 4.5 years, the jury heard all the evidence. They heard about the meth, they heard about the callous disregard for the safety, and they heard from trucking experts in the trial. The trucking industry has an underbelly, and it's called the log trucks. The log truck sector is the underbelly of the trucking industry. They think the rules do not apply to them. There are 600,000 DOT trucking companies across this country. There are only 2,000 inspectors. We rely upon companies to play by the rules to keep us safe. And when they break the rules, people die. This company and trucking companies in the log truck industry do nothing for safety, and this jury wanted to send a message, and they did. As the expert testified in trial, the log truck industry thinks the rules do not apply to them. They ignore safety rules, and put everyone in danger. Someone has to send a message that they play by the rules, and that someone was the jury. This jury had an opportunity, to shine a bright light on the corruption and danger of the log truck industry. This jury had an opportunity to shine a bright light on the danger and corruption of the log truck industry. All around the swamp are log woods. All of these logs run straight through Callahan, from the east of the swamp down US 1, from the west of the swamp across State Road 2 up 301. And they all meet in Callahan, and they all drive State Road 200 to the mills in Fernandina Beach. Hundreds every day. This jury is trying to drain that swamp of the corruption, of the dangerous drivers, of the meth in the woods that puts everyone in danger. And they delivered a verdict that matched the evidence. They delivered a verdict that matched the evidence under the law. The Nassau County citizens are sick and tired of the log truck industry ignoring and breaking the safety rules that protect us all and keep us all safe. The Nassau County jury unanimously, with a loud and clear voice, sent a message to the log truck industry: follow the rules, obey and enforce the rules, or you will be punished. And last night, that Nassau County jury returned this verdict: for the compensatory damages, for the bone-crushing injuries to Mike Miller, for the flesh-tearing injuries to Angel Rodriguez, for the permanent brain injury to a 5-year-old girl, $16.5 million. But the most important thing was the message they were sending to a corrupt industry that puts everyone in danger. A loud and clear message of $125 million for a total verdict of $141 million. Now, Mike Miller has a statement he would like to read for the press.
I am thankful to the Pajcic and Pajcic for fighting for 4.5 years to get justice for us and exposing the corruption of the log truck industry. That industry puts everyone in danger on the roads in Nassau County. I'm thankful to the jury for sending a loud, clear message to the log truck industry that we are taking back the streets. Follow the rules, or you'll be held accountable.
And I'm happy to take any questions that y'all might have.
Where is Canaan Trucking based?
Columbia County.
Columbia County. And for my clarification, how do we spell that?
K_N. I think we have a picture that shows, we don't have that here. K_N Logging LLC.
Mr. Miller, or any of you, would you be willing to share how this has impacted your life? We're seeing pictures here of extensive injuries. If you could share.
You know, until appeals are handled, we're not going to have them make any further. They only had one statement they wanted to make. Yeah.
Besides money, this is also vindication. Can you share that?
Unfortunately, this log truck company and the trucking industry spent $0 on safety. They spent $156,000 on experts trying to avoid responsibility. $0 on safety and $156,000 to protect their money. What's more important, safety or money?
Clearly, you've been doing this a long time. You've seen all kinds of stories. That background, what went through your mind seeing that? It's pretty extensive.
This is the most reckless disregard we have ever seen for the safety. To put someone with a criminal record like that, an active meth addict behind the wheel, and turning a blind eye to every child, mother, father on the road, it is reckless disregard, and that's why the jury did what they did, to send a message, keep us safe, follow the rules.
And just for clarification, I understand they're not going to say anything, but were these individuals all in separate vehicles? I want to make sure I'm getting the picture correct
Absolutely.
in my mind.
So I'll show you the crash scene. This is, you can see here, where's the overall view? This is Angel's car. Yadi Ellis was in the back left seat in a booster when that truck overrode the bumper and crushed into her back seat within inches of her head at 67 miles an hour. That is like being dropped, picked up by a crane by the front of your car up to 59.6 feet and dropped onto concrete. That is the force that Yadi Ellis and Angel suffered. But wait, we're not done, because he was slammed into the car in front of him that Mike Miller was in with such force that was like being, we're not done yet. You've been dropped on your rear. We're going to pick you up by your rear now, lift you up to 26.5 feet, and drop you to concrete. That's the forces that Yadi Ellis and Angel suffered. And then they were knocked into Mike Miller's car with exploding glass, bent the frame, and Mike Miller was knocked into a fourth vehicle, and a fourth vehicle was knocked into a fifth vehicle. So, excuse me, Angel and Yadi Ellis were in the first vehicle hit, and Mike Miller was in the third vehicle in a 5-car chain reaction.
Okay, so this is Angel, correct?
Yes.
And were you in it? Was she in it?
She is the mother of
The child.
the child, 5-year-old. He was picking her up from school that day. She was at work.
I understand. Okay, so he was picking up his niece?
Right.
Your niece, okay. And he was in the white vehicle and Mr. Miller was in?
In the Jaguar.
Jaguar, okay. Now I'm understanding.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for the
Do we have the overall picture? Okay, I guess we don't have that in here. Anyway, here's copies of the verdict here, if y'all want to look at them. You see how the jury divided up negligence 50-50, and you can see the individual numbers, but I showed you the summary of the numbers. Okay, any other questions?
Couple things. K&N, how large a business is this?
We don't know the powers behind that company. The log truck industry, all it takes to open up a company, to open up a logging company, all it takes is a click of a button on a website. And you get a license. Who is funding all these little companies that can go out of business and come back into business? Who is funding all these trucks? Someone's making a lot of money on cash under the table by opening up little companies with front men.
So was this a company where Mr., what was the driver?
Trollinger.
Was the only driver that we know of?
We know there were multiple drivers because in the random roadside inspections, there were 2 other drivers. When K&N was asked how many drivers you have, her response, I don't know. Any records? None. Fortunately, we did the research, we got the background from the DOT and found these other random roadside inspections showing at least 3 drivers, probably more.
So the woman who is ostensibly the owner says she doesn't know how many employees she, how many drivers she has.
Exactly.
Okay, okay, and, all right. So, did she know of any, did you find any record, could she produce any record that she had ever done any sort of background work with any of these other drivers?
None.
Okay.
If she had, she destroyed them. She denies ever doing any background check.
And is there any indication that her business, you talked about people opening up these companies, plural. Is there any indication that her company is connected to others?
The investigation continues. We're hoping the press will help.
Okay.
Who is behind it? Trollinger says, where does he get his meth? In the logging woods. What's really going on here? Is there a meth industry in the logging woods? Are they making profits off that? Or are they really delivering logs? Why is it all cash? Answers that we need.
So Trollinger was regularly paid in cash,
That's the only way he was paid.
and he was paid
By the load,
So
in
you get
cash.
one job and you get your pile of money, and then you come back tomorrow or you don't, and you either get money then or you don't, depending on whether you get.
At the time of this crash, we don't know if he was racing back to get another load because you're paid by the load, or if he was searching for his meth pipe in his pocket, or if he was looking at his cell phone. We'll never know because they destroyed the proof. They destroyed the evidence.
And so the truck was essentially empty at this point. The truck,
There were no logs on it.
Okay.
Because what happens is those trucks drive out full, then they haul tail back west to get another load because they're paid by the load. So the speed pays for them. Speed pays for them.
And where had he disposed of his logs going towards?
At the mill in Fernandina.
Okay.
Yep. He's picking them up in Fargo, Georgia, to the west of the swamp, and coming straight through Callahan, through Yulee, up to Fernandina to the mill, and then racing back. And that's when he slammed into these citizens of Nassau County. Anything else? The defendant now? The defendant now, he was just arrested again for felony possession of meth. Of course, the jury wasn't able to know that, but he was arrested again for felony possession of meth. And in fact, after this crash, when he slammed in the rear into 3 cars, do you know what the trucking company did? They put him right back on the road. And he flipped the same truck 5 months later after passing through Callahan.
So they put him back on the road after this crash? They didn't take him?
Exactly.
Same company.
Same company, same truck, same driver. Callous, reckless disregard for the safety of everyone.
They didn't put him on any kind of like stay off the road for a while, stay indoors? They didn't suspend him in any way?
Oh, they said they got rid of him. We found the crash report and we found the citation, and we were able to prove you are not telling the truth. Once again, you're committing perjury under oath to make money in reckless disregard of the safety of everyone in Nassau County on the roadways. Anything else?
And again, K&N is theoretically based in Columbia.
Yes.
I'm seeing an address in Fort White.
Yep, that's
Is that correct?
Columbia County, right?
Very good.
Yep.
And I looked on the DOC. Is this he?
That's he. You found him. What's the date of that arrest? Oh, is he in prison right now?
Well, it says he's under supervision.
That man shouldn't be out in public, much less behind the wheel of a 90,000-pound log truck.
Is there any insurance company standing behind this firm? Because you got a drug addict driver, and if his affairs are like most drug addicts, he's not going to be in a position to pay any portion of his liability. So is there any reason to think that this company has assets that can be pursued?
Yes.
Okay. He has an insurance company?
Well, we know the trucking company was insured.
Okay.
It was. And that's maybe part of the problem. The insurance companies just insure anyone just to make money. Why don't they enforce safety rules too? Because you can't drive a truck over the road unless you have an insurance policy. And good insurance companies, well, maybe they tell companies, we're going to make sure you're playing by the rules. But that's not an issue for this jury.
Well, if you gotta pay $140 million, you probably start thinking more about whether you're gonna check next time.
And that would help with safety. It would keep us all safe on the road. It would keep us all safe. Anything else?
That'll do it for me.
Anything else? God bless y'all. Thank you very much. Okay, here we go, guys.